Welcome into Beyond Sunday. I'm your host, Luke, and I am joined today by Matt Christie, who is on staff here at the Springs, and he's on staff at Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm so excited about this.
Absolutely. Can you tell everybody listening, what is your official title on staff here at the Springs?
I am the Middleton Production Coordinator.
Middleton Production Coordinator. Cool. So kind of on a Sunday, what does that look like to be the Middleton Production Coordinator?
Oh, it is never, ever boring. It is so much fun. It's actually really crazy. There's so much that has to happen in such a small amount of time, but it's really, really cool because everyone really if everyone doesn't come together every Sunday, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So every week you get to see so many people put their best foot forward and see the fruit of that as people come to church.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is my team shows up to Azella Rec Center at 6:30 a.m.
So crazy.
Yeah, I know. And then starting at 6:45, all the trailers show up. So we have two trailers. We have a production one and then a lobby one. So my team gathers. We unload the trailer, take everything in all the cases into the worship center, set up the booth, set up the stage, from the ground up, all the cables, the screens, the projector, the sound, running cables everywhere.
Right.
And we rehearse and we launch into our first service.
Now Middleton, for those of you listening or watching that don't know, now Middleton has 4 services. So they transitioned to that, I believe, the first of the year around that time.
Is
that right?
January 22nd.
Okay,
I think,
so
something like that.
So in January, Middleton transitions to 4 services. So now you guys are what, 8, 9, 15, 10:30, 11:45. Is that right?
Yep, nailed it.
So it's crazy to me. The turnaround that these guys have to do at Middleton is insane and couldn't be done without the volunteers that are there.
Oh, my team's the best.
And there's just so many people that get to enjoy those services. So incredible. Matt, first thing I want to do, I want to get the people to know you a little bit here, okay?
Oh, boy.
We're going off script, and it's funny. I'll talk about something you said to me before we started. I want you to tell people about your frog colony.
Yes, that is one of my favorite. This is deep Matt Christie lore. Okay, so some context.
Yeah.
I was homeschooled, and my dad is a biologist, and he always got really creative with our science projects. So when I was about 3rd, 4th grade, he said, "Matt, I want to teach you about responsibility and about the animal kingdom simultaneously." So he bought me tadpoles, bullfrog tadpoles, and he said, "Your science project." And we're going to talk about the ins and outs of stuff, as much as a 4th grader could understand.
Yes.
We're going to talk about growth spiritually, physically, scientifically, and we're going to go on this journey together through these tadpoles. My dad is so creative and so cool.
That's wild. Yeah.
And bless my mom for putting up with the smell of tadpoles for years. So we raised these tadpoles and they turned into bullfrogs. And then eventually they were too big for their cage. And we had a creek and little water repository in our woods.
Yeah.
In our backyard. So my dad's all right, well, we can't take care of them anymore. Let's set them free. So cool. So we set them free. And then 2 years later, I was just walking through the woods, just as a kid does. And I walk by the creek and there's 30 frogs that jump into the water. So these frogs that we raised together took over this area. And there was just tons of frogs. And one of my favorite pastimes with my dad is we just go down and catch frogs. I'd pretend I was Steve Irwin. I was obsessed with him.
Yeah.
So frogs were my crocodiles, essentially.
That is incredible. So have you since had the itch, the urge to have more frogs, have it as an adult now, or is that kind of just that was a special time? And
that was a special time.
Yeah.
I still if I see a frog jump, it makes me smile thinking of my dad and all the lessons he taught me through raising tadpoles, which is a really unconventional way of connecting with your kid, but it's just really special to me.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So full transparency, I messaged your wife Haley yesterday when you said you were down to come on the podcast. So I messaged her and I just said, "Haley, Matt is going to be on a guest on the church podcast tomorrow. Do you have anything I can bring up that he'd somehow be blown away that I know about?" And she said, "Ask him about his frog colony."
Oh, she knows me so well. She's amazing.
Yeah, so I was happy that there was something that I could ask you about, because that's super interesting, because I I'm not a big, not that I'm not a, okay, I'm not a big animal person, okay? But I also just don't understand like frogs or other things like that. If there's a frog in the house, I am dreading having to get it out of the
Oh,
house.
dude, they're so great. They eat mosquitoes and spiders.
Yeah.
Like they're just cool.
Did you know anything about them before your dad was like, hey,
No.
let's do this?
Not at all.
And so now you do have an affinity for them.
Oh my goodness. If I see a tree frog like outside, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Or like if I see something, I'm like, wait, I'm in Florida now. This might be venomous. But
Right.
I don't know. My curiosity always gets the best of me.
So you say you're in Florida now. How about telling our listeners and viewers where you're from originally?
I'm from a small town called Stylesville, Indiana.
Okay.
I think our population was like 500.
And you were there until when?
Till I turned 18. I graduated high school and went to Cincinnati, Ohio for college. I graduated from Cincinnati Christian University, studied music and worship ministry.
All right.
And yeah, I mean, I've spent most of my life in the tri-state area of Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, my wife and I moved down here.
How did you get introduced to the Springs then?
So we moved down here beginning of 2020, and we just wanted to find a church. And so we kind of just did that thing. I don't know if any of you guys have moved to a new area, but like you move somewhere new and you're looking for a church, and you kind of do that church hopping thing,
Yes.
seeing like, oh, this place is good, like this, like that. And like everywhere we came in Ocala was pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, but I was driving to Mount Ocala over here. If you guys ever come to the campus, you'll see it behind here.
Mount Trashmore,
Yes.
where the dump is. Yes.
We were, we had a bunch of recycling and boxes from moving. So I drove by and saw the church. I'm like, oh, cool. Like there's a big church right there.
Wow.
So
that's how you guys first found out about it.
yes.
And then you guys attend. And then how long do you guys attend before you're officially on staff?
Oh, that's a tricky question because I did like some stipend work and contract work. I was kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out for 4 years.
Okay.
So in 2024, almost a year ago, I came full-time staff.
Okay. Yes. And so did you come on staff? You were before me? Because I've been here now a year, basically, since last
I think
Mother's Day.
it was like a month after you joined.
Okay. No, I do remember this.
June
yes.
24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then your wife, Haley, also sings and has been serving for a while as well. What was that process like going from attending the Springs to serving, doing work for the Springs? Like, how soon after you guys were attending did that happen?
So we joined in like January, February-ish of like we came for the first time of 2020. Pandemic hit.
Yep.
So like we did the drive-in thing and like
How was that experience for you? For you guys?
it was wild. It was so cool. Like I mean, I went to school studying churches and stuff. I've never seen anything like that. That was such a cool season. We missed like connecting with people and stuff, but we still like had the chance to be a part of church, which was great.
And Randy Spear was on a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was last week, 2 weeks ago. And we talked extensively about doing the drive and what that took. So that's
It was huge.
So that's super interesting. So you guys just happened to come around the time that all of that started to happen. Was there? So had you guys just recently moved in January of 2020? Or did you guys move like
December 29th, 2019.
Okay, so pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys get here and then COVID happens.
Yeah.
Was there a sense of maybe like regret from you guys of like, oh, we just left family? Like for you, oh, I just moved and now this pandemic hit? Or what was that like for you guys to
Lord
move?
gave us peace about it. We knew it was the right move for us. I mean, we were 5 months married when we moved down here.
Okay.
And
wow.
So when COVID hit, like we were in the apartment together almost every day.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
all day, every day. It was actually like really good for our marriage. I mean, we had been dating for 8 years prior to that.
Wow.
Middle school sweethearts. And we were long distance for 5 years. Like I went to college in Cincinnati, Ohio. She went to college at Southeastern University in Lakeland.
Okay.
So we were apart from each other for 5 years. Only got to see each other 5-6 times a year. So having like that distance, then just getting to be together all day, every day.
So then I'm curious, how did you guys meet?
We met at youth group in church.
So she was in Indiana
yes, we both
and
were.
then came to Florida just strictly for Southeastern. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. So, okay, I got ADHD brain and we got off track. So, how long after was it before you guys started getting plugged in at the Springs?
We served for the first time in June of 2020. We played on the worship team here at Ocala.
Awesome.
And then we played like 3 or 4 Sundays. And then we, since, they had COVID, they had restrictions for numbers, they launched a middle school ministry through their encounter, through youth.
Okay, yeah.
And they asked Haley and I to be in leadership of that and take charge of worship and production.
Wow.
That on Sunday mornings out in the venue.
Okay, and you guys did that for a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did that. My wife, she did it for about 4 or 5 months, like being in leadership. Then she's a music educator, so like being in education's crazy.
Yeah.
She kind of had to step away, but I took charge of it, and I did that until June of 2022.
So, again, for those of you listening, watching that don't know Matt necessarily, or maybe you know Matt, but you just know Matt as the Matt that's in the production booth and running crazy trying to get stuff set up. Matt, aside from Jesus and Haley, his other love is the drums and music in general.
Yes.
So you play what instruments? You play drums and what else?
Drums, guitar, bass, keys, and I program stuff in DAWs.
You're like those people that speak multiple languages where I'm like, I can't do anything other than speak what I know. And I can't do anything but carry a tune slightly. So that's always amazing to me. And you and I have talked about it. And out of pure curiosity, I was like, do you and Haley like play music together at home? And you were like, oh, dude, like we love to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a cool bond that you guys have, just like further than, and I think it really, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it probably contributes a lot to like her not just being your spouse, but your best friend.
Exactly.
Being able to do
we
something
nerd
like
out
that.
on music theory all the time.
That's
like we'll
so
listen
fun.
to something and be like, oh, I liked that embellishment right there.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, like that was a really cool place to put a minor 4.
Yeah.
Or
Man, over my head.
yeah, it's just it's beautiful. We love it.
You know, you and Haley should start like a one of those couples Instagrams or TikToks that's just like you guys playing music together. I think I would find a lot of joy in that.
Oh, thanks.
It exists too. Like there's so many couples that do music together. But man, I would love something like that. Haley, I know you are watching or listening to this. So I need you guys to consider this for me. As if you guys don't have enough other stuff happening in your life anyway. But yeah, so big fans of you and Haley and just how much you guys have contributed to the Springs in such a short amount of time. Being here, 5 years at this point? It's really crazy all that you guys have done from the stage standpoint and to the booth. And Haley, a few months ago, did I Speak Jesus at the Springs. And I want to say it was the first time we did it at the Springs. And that ever since, like, you have people that when you think of a song, you think of that person. And for me, it's like every time I hear I Speak Jesus, I think about Haley leading it for the first time and how incredible it was. Because we took video of it. And posted it on social media as well. And really cool moment to see her leading that, and she crushed it, obviously. So yeah, like I said, big fans of you guys.
Thanks.
So Matt, I want to backtrack. Obviously, you go to college, and you say that you went to study, at the Cincinnati Christian. Is that right? Was that how long before you went there did you kind of understand like, oh, I feel a calling to working and serving in ministry?
Yeah, so in high school, I mean, like my only outlet socially since I was homeschooled was church. So like that kind of became my whole world.
Yeah.
And I got involved with leadership there and stuff. I played drums in the youth bands, led some small groups, tried to preach a couple times. Not your
my wheelhouse.
No.
It's not many people's.
So that, yeah. But I was at a conference my freshman year called Christ in Youth or CIY in Holland, Michigan, with a lot of my good friends, and God just really laid it on my heart. It's like, hey, like I want you to use your gifts through music and just your passion for that.
Yeah.
To do ministry for me. So I'm like, okay, like decision made freshman year of high school, like I'm going to go into ministry. So in youth group, I just kind of leaned into that as much as I could.
Yeah.
Took all the opportunity. thank the Lord for my youth pastor for putting up with me. I'm sure I was unbearable at times. But then I graduated, went to college, just learned about theology, music theory, some production stuff, and just got all of that base knowledge. And I knew I had a calling for ministry, and it involved that stuff. But I was kind of just, wondering, okay, like, how do I use all of these skills and these gifts that I have to spread the gospel? And then I graduate college and join this residency program, and I learned almost immediately that my passion for ministry is discipleship. I love seeing people take next steps closer to Jesus.
Yeah.
Whether they come to him for the first time or have known him for a while and decide to take a leap into serving or giving or doing something that, God leads them into. Helping people take those steps is my why.
That's awesome. And that's something I didn't know about you, that's kind of the calling. I really expected you to be like, yeah, it was music or whatever else, right? Production work. So that's awesome. That's where you feel that. And let's talk about, so after you do that, that program that you did after college, you said, you guys moved to Florida in 2020, and at the time you weren't working directly in ministry, right? Like you wasn't a full-time job. It wasn't a full-time career at that point. What was that like? I mean, were you discouraged at all that you weren't in ministry?
Oh yeah. So we moved to Florida, and I got a job at Chewy. We moved, and I just needed a way to make money.
Yeah.
So okay, well, I guess I'll go drive a forklift for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kept on wanting to kind of work my way into church, but God kept on quickly working on something in my heart. He said hey, if you can't do ministry in this warehouse, there's no way you can do it full-time vocationally.
Wow. That's strong.
He had to break a lot of stuff in me. He's like, your worth doesn't come from your position.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need a microphone or a position on staff to do ministry, you're not fit for it.
Man, and that's kind of what I was thinking as I'm hearing you speak is, if anything, it can be an encouragement to people that maybe they were once felt they were called to ministry. That ministry doesn't mean that you just work at a church.
No.
It means that you do things like you disciple people around you.
Yes.
And you get to see them grow. And honestly, I've thought about it a lot because it's really easy to become engulfed in the church bubble where all my friends are here. My small group, obviously, all church people, right? All my friends are here. My family, and for me specifically, my family is here. And there's not, it can feel like there's not many people to invite to church if this is my circle and this is who I run with. And so that's how I have challenged myself and felt challenged by God of hey, do the uncomfortable thing and invite that person taking your order at this place, right? I invited a guy that is at the first window of McDonald's close to here to Easter, and he was kind of surprised that I gave him an invite card with my number on the back, right? And it doesn't have some incredible ending, at least not yet. We don't know, but he, to my knowledge, didn't come to Easter, and that's kind of what you have to understand when you're ministering to people and inviting them and just trying to break down that first wall. And it all starts with praying for them, inviting them, and going from there. Did you feel was there a moment? So obviously you had, like you said, kind of some disappointment, maybe some frustration. You just have to take a job to work.
Yeah.
But do you know, was there a moment that it felt like that shifted for you to where this is I actually can serve in ministry here?
Yes. It was a few years ago, and I was just feeling really down on myself. I'm like, God, you've given me this passion and these gifts, and I've worked so hard, went into student debt to get these, all this stuff, and feel like I'm not using it. And he just said, you're not ready to use it yet.
Wow.
I don't need that from you. I don't need your gifts yet. I need you to be fully present where you are and be okay with where I've put you. And if you can't do that,
Right.
then, I mean, what's the point of you even having these gifts in the first place?
Yeah. So was there a feeling in you
Mm-hmm.
that was, I might not be on staff at a church yet, but I believe it's coming? Like, did you always have that in the back of your head of like, I'm going to be obedient to the Lord and talk to the people that I work with about him, but I also at the same time feel like maybe one day I will work at a church? Like, or was there a point where you're like, oh, I'm ruling this out completely of working at a church?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, okay, if I like master Chewy, then I can move on to here. Like, no, God's like, no, like obedience is enough of a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you never work in a church again, like
Right.
you going where I tell you
Mm-hmm.
and following my lead and
Mhm.
loving the people around you in the place that I've put you is ministry.
Wow.
And obedience to me is more than enough. My grace is more than sufficient.
Yeah.
If you can't put a towel around your neck and wash people's feet,
Mm-hmm.
you don't deserve to be on a platform with a microphone,
Yeah.
because that's the example that Jesus set for us.
Yeah. 100%. Man, that is awesome. And then you end up, what was that like when you see this opportunity kind of start to, that door starts to open a little bit to come on staff at the Springs?
It was cool. I had finally made peace. Like, okay, like I may
Yeah.
not be on staff at a church again, but I just want to focus in leading in what you have for me, God.
Mhm.
Because once I finally like let go of that like need to do what I always wanted to do and just follow God, I felt so much more peace. I felt so much more, present, and I saw God move more in my life because of it. And then, when the opportunity came, you guys needed someone to contract for Middleton. I'm like, oh, I want to help my church out. Like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
help. I can contract. Like, it's a need that we have. Like, I didn't go into it with expectation of
Right.
being full time. But I came that first Sunday, served it, and then like I'm like, oh man, like that was great. Like this was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Second Sunday, I'm like, oh yes, God, this is awesome. Thanks for this opportunity. Back to Chewy.
Yeah.
And God slowly started like pushing me into like, hey, like it's time.
Yeah.
Like this door is opening for you. I want you to run through it.
That's incredible.
So
Man, so being on staff for almost a year at this point,
mhm.
do you have a favorite memory or a favorite moment so far on staff at the Springs?
Yes. So with our setup teardown team, like it's always crazy. It's always fast paced. But I'm always recruiting, always looking for new people. And about a year ago, there was a new family that moved to Middleton, and it was a teenage son and a dad, and they decided to serve together for the first time. They're brand new to the area, didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see them do something together and grow closer to God through something they've never done before. Like most people, when I ask them to join my team, like, hey, yeah, we just set up the stage and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, like that shouldn't be too hard. But it's like, no, this is like 8 different kinds of cables that go in these different inputs. Like we have to measure like the projector and all this stuff. It gets kind of intimidating. I assure people that it's not as scary as it looks, but it was really cool to see a father and son tackle a new challenge together.
Wow.
For the kingdom and see the fulfillment there and see their dedication and me telling me like, hey, we look forward to this every week. This is a great way that we've bonded together. We're serving the kingdom, and God's just opened a lot of doors for us through this ministry.
Man, there's so many countless stories that already have come out of Middleton, and I know you have 100 others as far as just examples of people jumping in and serving and not really being sure about, I don't know about this whole portable church thing and what they're getting themselves into. And then they find themselves coming back and coming back and coming back. And man, just awesome to hear from you and your story. And that's what this is all about. Like Beyond Sunday being the title of this podcast, it's so much more than that. Like we want to go beyond what just people hear on Sunday. And that goes to like the people who are in working production at Middleton or doing or leading on stage or whatever that is. And so these are always my favorite episodes because we just get to talk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we got to talk about frog colonies. We got to talk about serving in ministry and Chewy and what it looks like to serve outside of just working at a church. So again, I appreciate you hopping on here, Matt.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And I appreciate you guys listening, watching. For those of you guys watching or listening, we had Mother's Day this past Sunday, and it was incredible all around. We heard so many good things about it. I know that my sister-in-law Anita, I heard that she crushed it at Middleton,
She was awesome.
and then my mom obviously here and at our other location satellite campuses. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Matt, appreciate you joining,
Thanks for
and
having
we
me.
will catch you guys next time. See ya.